And welcome to yet another exciting episode of Clinical Monday, the best way to begin a healthy week for our Pop and Chats. My name is Nkosi, and thank you so much for joining us. And yes, man, I hope that you'll be participating in this conversation as we shine the spotlight on yet another clinical topic. Please don't forget to find us on all our social media platforms. We are live on our Facebook, our YouTube, also our Twitter. On all of them, it is Oram Pop In, and on X, we are at @in_health with the hashtag Clinical Monday. Today, we are shining the spotlight on all things Purpose 2. There's Purpose 1, there's Purpose 2, but hey, to give us some light and clarity on this, I am joined by the project manager on the clinical research supporting the research center in Tembisa. Their name is Tlhagadi, and they are my guest today. So please, for whatever question or comment, mind you, comment on the comment section below. Andrew, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, and how are you?
I'm great.
I'm
interested to know more about Purpose 2 and what it is. I'll tell you this. We know that there is PrEP.
Yes.
There's a PrEP that we take daily. Well, different kinds of methods also of taking PrEP. There's PrEP, we take either daily or ED PrEP, and there's different methods of taking it. But now there's Purpose 2. Tell us more about it.
Okay. So Purpose 2 basically is a program that is designed by Gilead. It's a purpose program that Gilead has actually designed to test this so-called drug.
Yeah.
Basically, it's an injectable drug that will be used twice yearly for the prevention of HIV.
Yeah.
So the purpose program is done in two programs. There's Purpose 1 and there's Purpose 2. Purpose 1 is basically aimed at girls who are 16 and 25, basically to check for prevention of HIV.
Yeah.
And Purpose 2 is looking at your key population, which is mostly your cisgender men, your transgender women, transgender men, and gender non-binary people. So basically this program just checks, it's a clinical trial that basically tests to see how the injectable drug will be working. For that will be given twice yearly, basically.
Yeah.
And there'll be a comparison that is done during a clinical trial.
Yeah.
So how a clinical trial actually works, just to give you more insight about it as well, is that in a clinical trial, we've got what you call, we basically test a certain drug over a number of years, and we get the right candidates who need to come in for the drug or whatever it is that we're testing. So with this program, basically, as I've given you, that we've got the Purpose 1 and the Purpose 2, looking at those different populations again, and looking at different populations again in the world to see how the prevention of whether this will actually minimize the rate of HIV infection. And it's a good way, again, like you were saying, in terms of different PrEPs that we use. Now it's getting to a point where we need to give people choice of what to do in terms of preventing for HIV. There's people who take tablets, and some people don't like taking tablets every day, obviously.
They don't.
There's condoms. Some people actually have issues with the latex of using condoms. And now this is a good way of having what you call an injectable drug, which basically you just injected twice a year. And we hope, and from the research and that we've seen so far, we are, hoping that we will get good results with this clinical trial.
Great confidence there, Andrew, but also let's touch on who is it intended for. You touch on Purpose 1 being for young women from a specific age or a certain age to another, and also you're touching on Purpose 2 being for key populations. These would be, cisgender men, transgender men and women, and people who identify as non-binary. But who is it intended for? And personally, can we also maybe touch at the criteria or the eligibility criteria, but we'll get into that. But first, who is it intended for?
Usually, it's intended for people at high risk of getting infected with HIV. Hence, the young girls, 16 to 24. As we know, if you look at the stats of HIV across the world, even in South Africa, young girls are affected by HIV. So, hence, this program was designed for the girls, so that we look into them and we try to minimize the rate of infection amongst the girls. And then you get your key population, which is also at risk, of being infected. So hence your transgender men, transgender women, who are at risk of being infected with HIV.
Yeah.
And your criteria for the purpose to study, the criteria is 16 and above. You shouldn't have tested for basically HIV negative. And thirdly, you shouldn't have been on PrEP in the past 3 months as well.
Yeah, because you're trying to,
we're trying to do a comparison.
Yeah.
So those are some of the eligibility criteria that we look into. Of course, in a clinical trial, we do get into more eligibility criteria that we look into, but I will not divulge more on it. But that's the main one in order for you to get into the study, that you should be at a certain age group, not tested, not having taken PrEP in the past 3 months, and of course you should be HIV negative.
Yeah.
And the other thing again is, in a clinical trial we also look at 2 products. So you will get what we call an active product, and you will get what we call a placebo. So our active product here in this case would be the lenacapavir, which is the injectable drug, and our placebo, or what would we compare it with? We will compare it with another drug. So we will also give you what we call tenofovir. So your participants, one of the participants will either get the active or they'll get a placebo. And the other one will also get either active tenofovir or placebo injection. So in that way, we have to compare and see how between the two, if those who were on the active drug, on the active lenacapavir, what happened to them? Was the rate of infection lower in comparison to those who were on the active pill as well? So it's a long process that we go through in clinical trials. It takes almost 3 to 5 years to actually get the results. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why we need someone who hasn't been active on PrEP.
Okay, I got you. I interestingly had a conversation over the weekend with a friend who was saying, because they buy their PrEP, and I was like, why are you buying PrEP? Because we give PrEP for free at Pop, and they're like, didn't know. But then they would say that the PrEP that they buy doesn't have side effects. And does the PrEP that we are giving at Pop in for free, does it have side effects? And I was like, but it's a pill, it should have side effects. Let's touch on the side effects of Pepos 2. Does it have side effects? Because you are touching on it being a clinical trial. So are there side effects? What are some of the side effects that people can, or people who have actually went through the study or still are going through the study are experiencing?
Yeah, because this is still a clinical trial process, and we're still testing to see, like, one of the reasons that we're testing is for safety of the participants. So there's still data that we need to collect in terms of your side effects. Of course, having an injection, people would often complain about having side effects, maybe of nausea, probably dizziness, and where you get injected, of course, you would have some sort of bruise or something. So in this trial, we're still collecting the data. We're still collecting, and obviously we will get more information, with what happens based on what the participants actually report, because participants do come in for follow-up visits where we actually do check safety to see, did you have nausea, did you have a headache,
did you vomit,
what happened, and from all of this collection of data from different clinical trial centers, the data will be put together to get a better understanding of what the side effects are actually for this.
I got you. How different then is it? Because it is a different method of PrEP. It's an injectable. Still in this clinical trial, we get that. But in terms of how, I want to say, how people consume it or how people receive it. So a pill you eat every day.
Every day.
It's one that it's called daily PrEP, right? And then there's ED PrEP. This one is an injectable.
This is an injectable.
I want to then that would be a different way of it. So it stays longer in the body, because you talk about it being from 6 months, you do it twice a year. So daily PrEP is every day. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe tell us dive deep into it.
Lenacapavir is an HIV inhibitor, as it's called. So basically what it does is, you get your HIV virus, and your HIV virus attaches to your immune system, where it replicates, and then of course it forms more copies of the virus. So what a capsid inhibitor does is that it interferes with the capsid of the HIV virus. So when it interferes with the capsid of the HIV virus, it sort of causes some mechanism that will not allow the virus to replicate and make more copies. So what lenacapavir actually does is, once it's injected in your system, they call it a long-acting drug. Hence, they recommend that you take it twice yearly. From the studies that have been shown, is that it can actually stay in your body for a period of up to 6 months. So hence they call it long-acting. So you only get it twice a year, of course. And and with this drug, what we've also what's been seen is it's also been approved to actually assist in people who've got multi-drug resistant HIV. So it's been approved by the FDA. There's, can actually read up more on it, and look it up. And, so hence it's a promising, it's something that is promising for our generation. Like we said, that most of the time people don't want to take the pill, so we think this will be a new way in science that we've discovered, as an option, that you just get it twice a year and you're safe.
Another app for HIV prevention and 0 for HIV. That's the score. We are definitely getting interesting ways of how we can prevent ourselves. What are some of your comments when it comes to an injectable PrEP? Have you participated in Purpose 2 yet? Have you not? What are some of the questions that you have when it comes to this? They say the criteria, or rather the eligibility criteria, you need to be 16 and above. You need to have not tested for HIV in the past 3 months. You need to not to currently be on PrEP, because it is a PrEP. So if you're taking daily PrEP or ED PrEP, you have to stay off of it for 3 months. And if you do, most definitely join the study. But also, what are some of the questions that you have when it comes to it? Some clarities that you need when we are looking at Purpose 2. Share those with us on our social media platforms, or rather on our pages. On X, we are at N_health. Please make sure that you hashtag Clinical Monday, hashtag Purpose 2, and also find us on other social media platforms. We are live on our YouTube and also on our Facebook. So it's part of prevention. Like I said, prevention 1, HIV is still 0, because we have to get to a generation where we say HIV, we are eliminating it.
HIV,
so,
yes.
Exactly. So it is part of the prevention conversation, because I think this would be that conversation. So we're going to skip that question of how does it then feature into being a conversation when we talk about HIV prevention. But, and I think you sort of like touch on how it works. Maybe take us through on how it defends the body. Okay, I think you did that as well, because it would be different from taking the daily PrEP, the tablet. Yes.
So it works in the same mechanism as well. Where it basically just eliminates replication of the virus.
Yeah.
So in science, what we look into usually in an HIV virus is the different proteins in a virus. There's different drugs that will eliminate certain proteins. There's drugs that will attack maybe the P20 protein or P24, the different things. So obviously this is, like I explained, that it's a capsid inhibitor. So it inhibits the virus from actually replicating. So a person who gets infected with the virus, they're more likely not to get infected because of this lenacapavir that's already in your system, that when the virus comes in, it interferes with the actual virus and there won't be replication of the virus.
Most definitely. Got you there. I want us to talk about serodiscondant or serodiscondancy. So if a serodiscondant couple, so if a couple, one is HIV and the other is negative, but they would want to participate in the study, perhaps maybe that's one of the criteria that they should participate, or would it be sort of like a different conversation? Maybe they're really at a high risk and they might get infected. So what happens in that situation where somebody has somebody that is living with HIV, but they want to participate in the study?
The study is open to anyone. So like I was explaining, that there's still research that's been done. We haven't really looked at serodiscordant couples. However, I think from the girls that we've been enrolling in the Purpose 1 study, we would get more information from them. So probably as information is being collected, they would probably say and tell us that, no, I am living with a partner who's HIV positive while I was participating in the study. However, this is open to anyone, you know, and we would actually like to get more information based on the findings in this trial of couples who are still converted. But I think in future as well, it would actually be something good, you know, to also reduce the risk, because that person is obviously at a high risk, you know, and not knowing again if the partner is also taking ARVs, because recently it's been shown that ARVs, you know, the viral load is undetectable, that the rate of infection to the high risk person is quite low. But again, you need to be safe, you know, and it would be something that we would recommend
most definitely
as discordant couple
to do. I want to do, you touched on then people that are part of the study then would come up or would come back for follow-ups at the centers, and what are you then checking for? So so let's say I get in, I become part of the study today. When is my next schedule to come back and say, okay, after this month or after these weeks I need to come back, and when I come back, what are you looking for?
Okay. So when you come back for your study, like I say, that we're looking at safety and obviously efficacy. Efficacy is doing a comparison, like I was saying to you, comparing the active product as well as the placebo. So when you come in for your visits, we have what you call a schedule. So you go through, in clinical trials, you go through a process of, we screen you first. When we screen you, we check all those eligibility criteria or whether you're eligible for the study or not. There's a number of questions that we look into. Of course, we would collect blood as well. Just to check how your levels are, you know, your full blood count, your chemistries, just to see how you're functioning. And then we enroll you into the study. If you're eligible, then you go into a process of enrollment. When you get enrolled, basically you'll not know whether you're getting the active product or the placebo. Why? Because we try not to cause bias. You know, we also don't know. We don't know as well. So you go through that process of being enrolled, where you'll be given the active product or you get the placebo, and we monitor you once you get the injection, and in months to come or weeks to come, you'll be given a schedule. So it would either be in a month's time or in a week's time, or 3 monthly. So it's a whole program and process that you go through. However, the most important is that you get your first injection at enrollment, and then 6 months later you will get your second injection. And just to say as well, if you got the active product, well, we don't know. If you got the active product, you'll still get the active product. Yes.
At 6 months.
At 6 months. Or if you get a placebo, you still get a placebo. Because we have to see how this is working. As we said, that it's twice yearly injection. So the reason that you come back for your follow-up visit is we have to check for your safety. You know, hence it goes back to the issue of side effects. That's when we start collecting information. You know, we check participants' safety. How are you feeling? You know, there's certain questions that we ask.
I got you.
How many questions? How are you feeling? You know, and we do blood tests as well, just to see the safety of a patient and how they're doing in the study as well, the progress throughout the study.
Got you. Two last questions, then I'm going to let you go. I want us to then share the benefits of being on Purpose 2. So, you know, we know that with every time when we talk PrEP, the benefits are that you get protected from HIV, which is the biggest benefits, I think, of it all. And I think it also gives you a peace of mind knowing that you are protected. But what are some of the benefits that, you know, one can sort of get if they participate in Purpose 2?
One of the benefits, obviously, is you know, you're part of a study that will help in prevention HIV, and you're doing great work for our country and for our community. But of course, the other benefit is that you get clinical care, you know, from our sites, you know, that as you come in, you know, we look after you. There's a doctor that comes in and checks that you're doing well, you know, and if there's anything that happens with patients as well, or with we call them participants. So if there's any effects or anything that a participant goes through if it's related to the study product as well. We do referrals as well. So we ensure that we do take care of our patients or participants. So those are one of the benefits as well, that you're also contributing to science, in partaking in the study.
Then where do we read up on it? Because I think this is quite interesting for one to, get really deep into it if they want to further read or further get information. Where do people find the information, and how can one be part of the study?
Okay. We've got 2 clinical research sites. One is in Pretoria, in Linwood, where we do the study. And secondly, we've got another research site in Tembisa Research Center, where you can be part of the study. I'll share some of the numbers, and maybe we can just share the pamphlet. So if you need to reach us, you can reach us at 064-737 8484. This is for our Pretoria site. Depending on where you are located, we will, obviously put you at whichever site that is closer, to you. So this is the Pretoria site, and if you need further information about Tembisa, you can still contact this number. And if you're residing in Tembisa or surrounding areas around Tembisa, just contact us, and we'll put you through to the right people.
Most definitely. Also, if you want to read up on it, follow this conversation, because this is part 1. We are still going to get into part 2 for some of the questions that we did not answer in part 1. And thank you so much for being part of this conversation. And I look forward to your engagements. But that was our conversation on Clinical Monday on Purpose 2. And we were joined by Project Manager for Clinical Research, supporting the Research Center in Tembisa, Andrew Tlhagadi. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Let's see you in part 2 of this. Until then, happy streaming. Bye.